red shirts flooding back. Chance for Cristiano Ronaldo!
The 2023-2024 Premier League season came to a close on Sunday, and as most people expected, Manchester City were crowned champions. Arsenal lost marginally and came in second. Liverpool came in third, and Aston Villa was the fourth team. And top four this season for the Premier League, unlike other leagues like the Serie A and the Bundesliga, the top four are going the Champions League. And yesterday I did a video on why Arsenal lost and what they need to do for them to be able to compete against this Manchester City team successfully next season. You can find that link below in the bio. So today I want us to talk about the Premier League preview. I'll be talking about the team of the season for each and every club. I'll be talking about the signing of the season, the manager of the season, and of course, the match of the season. For the signing of the season, I know most teams did some good business as it proved to be with the results. Chelsea signed Cole Palmer from Manchester City. He performed well this season. Arsenal signed Declan Rice. Chelsea also signed Moises Caicedo. Liverpool signed Alexis McAllister. Manchester City signed Josko Gvardiol. These are just examples of the main signings that were made by these teams last summer. And when I look at the results and how these teams performed and these players performed, for me, I'm convinced Declan Rice was the signing of the season. Because when you look at how Arsenal were playing this season as compared to last season, they were more solid this season. Declan Rice brought some sort of composure in midfield. He brought that sort of physical presence. And when you look at how Arsenal, their stats, whereby they conceded the least goals, it's partly due to Declan Rice and the way that he protected the defense. You all remember very well that when West Ham lost 5-0, I think thrice this season, David Moyes was clear and said that the main reason as to why they have lost 5 goals, more than 5 goals in more than 3 matches, is simply because they sold Declan Rice. That underscores the importance of Declan Rice in this Arsenal squad. Not only was he good at defending, but also he had a couple of assists, he had a couple of goals, and he was good when Arsenal when fueling Arsenal to where they finished this season. Even though they were not able to win the league, they tried and they came close to Manchester City, and that is partly due to Declan Rice. When I go to the most improved player, I know this is a little bit controversial, but for me, I'll go with Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire underwent one of the most difficult times faced by a player in and off the pitch. He faced so much criticism, not just in his in football club, but also in the national team. But somehow he was able to forget about these things. He was able to rebuild himself, compose himself, and he became arguably one of Manchester United's best defenders this season. In as much as Manchester United were not playing well, in as much as they were not so good, at least Maguire recomposed and played like the Maguire that people were used to when he was at Leicester. So for me, the most improved player this season is Harry Maguire. The complete opposite of most improved is the flop of the season. And sadly, this goes to Harry Maguire's teammate, Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford last season, he was good, he played well, he scored crucial goals, he was clinical in front of goal with his iconic celebration. But this season, judged by the bar that he set last season, I think he has been poor. Probably he knows it himself that he needs to up his game, and there are discussions and conversations among Manchester United fans on whether to keep him or sell him come come the summer. Next, I'll go to the match of the season. There have been so many entertaining matches in the Premier League this season. The likes of matches involving Arsenal, matches involving Manchester City, matches involving Man United, matches involving Liverpool, even the teams that were in the mid-table, for example, the likes of Crystal Palace had some good matches. But for me, the match of the season this season has been the Man City versus Chelsea, the 4-4 draw. Because in that match, there was absolutely everything. There were goals, there was the suspense, the last minute drama. For me, that's by a mile the match of the season. I know there are other matches that come close to that, but that one stands out at the very top. Next, I want to bring you a very interesting topic. I'll be mentioning every top player, the player of the season from all the 20 teams in the Premier League. And I will do that in order of the league table. So for Manchester City, I'll go with the Premier League player of the season. That is Phil Foden, because I believe Phil Foden has been good. He has scored some crucial games. When De Bruyne was injured, Phil Foden stood out. He led the team. Despite his age, he has been tremendous. Scored some goals, got some assists, and even yesterday or on Sunday, when they needed him to somebody to start to stand up and show up in a very tense moment, Phil Foden was there, scored two very important goals, and Manchester City won the Premier League. I know people also mention about Rodri. Rodri has been outstanding in Manchester City, but I believe Phil Foden's contribution, especially with how he has performed and the crucial goals that he has scored, he deserves to be the player of the season for Manchester City. For Arsenal, I'll go with the signing of the season, Declan Rice. Don't think there's so much debate there. The likes of Saliba, the likes of Gabriel, the likes of Martin Odegaard, the likes of Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, they have all had a fantastic season, but I believe Declan Rice had a better one as compared to all these other players. For Liverpool, I'll go with Van Dijk. I don't think there's so much debate in that, because Liverpool have not been quite good, especially towards the end of the season. They have lost a couple of matches, but Van Dijk, as he has always been in the last 3 or 4 seasons in the Premier League, he has been good, and for me, he's the Liverpool player of the season. When you go to Aston Villa, it's Ollie Watkins. The goals that he has scored, the assists, his impact in big matches, his impact in helping Aston Villa even in the to get into their Champions League spot. I think Ollie Watkins is also one of the top strikers that the Premier League has had this season. And I'm yet to see whether Gareth Southgate will have him in his team, or he'll have somebody else. When you go to Tottenham Hotspur, I'll go the left back, Udogie. Udogie has been good. He has been solid. There's nobody in that Tottenham Hotspur team that you can say was very outstanding as far as their performances are concerned. The likes of James Maddison, the likes of Son Heung-min, the likes of Bissouma, the likes of Richarlison, Timo Werner, Kulusevski, they have all been kind of average. They have not hit the very best that they are able to. So given the performance that Tottenham has had this season, I believe Udogie has been their player of the season. For Chelsea, it's straightforward. The man who has scored the goals for them, the man who has assisted for them, the man who has literally carried Chelsea on his back, Cole Palmer, deserves the player of the season for Chelsea. For Newcastle, I'll go with Alexander Isak. Isak has had a fantastic run, especially towards the end of the season. He has scored crucial goals for Newcastle. He has assisted. He has helped the team even secure European football for next season. So for me, nobody comes close to him as far as the Newcastle team is concerned. Manchester United, I'll go with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno has been good. He has the most the most chances created in the Premier League. Whenever he plays for Manchester United, you always feel that there's something that he can do, whether it's through passing, whether it's through his shots. He has had a couple of goals this season, and given the fact that Manchester United have not been performing well, he's the outstanding player amongst the pack of the players that Manchester United have. When you go to West Ham, I'll go with Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen has been outstanding this season. The goals that he has had, the assists that he has helped the David Moyes team in as much as they have not been quite well, at least. But Jarrod Bowen has been outstanding Despite the injuries that he has had, his numbers speak for him. When you go to Crystal Palace, I'll go with the centre back Joachim Anderson. Joachim Anderson leads the Premier League in terms of the interceptions, in terms of his passes. I love his passes. He's a long passer and very accurate. Whenever he faces a striker 1v1, you're always sure that this guy is going to win that tackle because he's that kind of player. He has got that kind of mentality. And I'll be waiting. It will be interesting during the summer to see whether any of the big clubs in England or across the world will go for him because he's a top class defender. When I go to Brighton, I'll go with Pascal Gross. Pascal Gross has been outstanding for Brighton in the last 3 or 4 seasons. He has had a couple of goals. He has had a couple of chances that he has created, assists, and he's been solid. In as much as Brighton have not hit their very high as they did last season, at least Pascal Gross has been able to be there for the team. And remember, this Brighton team has had so many injuries, and so they miss most of their senior players. And even when they had the youngsters and the players from the academies playing, I think Pascal Gross provided the leadership that these youngsters needed in key moments this season. I go to the next team, Bournemouth. I'll go with Dominic Solanke straight away. The goals, he's a good goal scorer. He scored a couple of goals for them, very important goals. And to me, he's one of the main reasons as to why Bournemouth have performed well this season. For Fulham, I'll go with the left back, Anthony Robinson. Robinson has been fantastic, especially in 1v1s against one of the best, let's say, right wingers in the Premier League, the likes of Mohamed Salah, the likes of Bukayo Saka. He's always performed well. And whenever you see the winger running at him, you always feel he's confident. He always has his eyes on the ball. And also his numbers speak for him. He has the most crosses of any left back in the Premier League this season, the most tackles, the most interceptions won for any left back this season. And that speaks for him and for Fulham. That makes me settle with him as the best player this season for Fulham. For Wolves, I'll go with Matheus Cunha. He has been good. He has been tremendous. The goals, the assists, the chances, the dribbles. He has had so many runs through the midfield against opponents, and he has helped Wolves to be where they finished the season this year. For Everton, I'll go with the goalkeeper, the England #1, Jordan Pickford. There's no doubt in that. He has had great saves this season. He has kept Everton in some games where you felt as if they were losing it, but somehow Pickford managed to make some crucial saves that kept Everton in the game. Brentford, I'll go with Yohan Wissa, the Congo international, the DRC international. He has been good with the ball. I know most people talk about Ivan Toney, but Ivan Toney, since he came back from his ban, he has not been able to hit the heights that we expect him to hit. But for Yohan Wissa, he has maintained the consistency. He has scored a couple of goals here and there, and has helped Brentford avoid relegation, because there were times this season where he got nervy for the bees. And somehow Yohan Wissa, as well as with the team, of course with the support of the team, they were able to ensure that at least Brentford are safe and the Premier League football for next season is guaranteed. Nottingham Forest, I'll go with Morgan Gibbs-White. Morgan Gibbs-White is one of the players whom I feel deserves to play in bigger teams. The way that kid plays football is on another level. He has some key passes, he can dribble, he can shoot, and he has moments in matches where you don't know what he'll do next, because he's that kind of player who can do anything. He's that kind of player who can be relied upon. He's that kind of player that can change the game he can make something out of nothing. And I believe this summer or next summer, some of these big teams need to start watching him, because he's a top quality player. I'm not disrespecting Nottingham Forest in any way, but I still believe Morgan Gibbs-White deserves more. Sorry, Nottingham Forest fans. For Luton Town, I'll go with Ross Barkley. No, there's no debate in that. No wonder Aston Villa are almost finalizing the deal to sign Ross Barkley, as reported by Fabrizio Romano. So he's been a good player. When you watched any of Luton's matches, They played fantastic football. They were entertaining. But part of that is because of the calmness that Ross Barkley brought in the midfield. The way he was able to control the tempo of the match. Whenever they needed more pace, he was able to inject more pace into the match. Whenever the team needed to cool down and relax and settle, he was able to do that the way he controlled his passes and his tackles. So for me, he has been Luton's best player this season. Burnley, I'll go with Lyle Foster just simply because of the goals. Burnley have not been performing well. Probably most people did not expect them to go back into relegation, but sadly they're going back there. But Lyle Foster has been good. For Sheffield United, I really can't see anybody in that Sheffield team that I can say was outstanding. Sheffield United fans, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because I've been unable to pick a specific player because I felt all of them were on the same level. So please help me. If you are Sheffield United fan, tell me whom you feel should be your player of the season this the last season, because Sheffield United were the first team to be relegated back into the championship. Hopefully they can perform better and we can see them back in the Premier League in the 2025-2026 season. So that has been my player of the season from each and every of the 20 teams. So now I'll go to the best team of the season. That is the best 11. I know people have had their own opinions. Some have hit the nail on its very head. Some have been biased, but everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And this is my Premier League 2023-2024 best 11. In goal, I go with Emi Martinez from Aston Villa. I believe he's made tremendous saves, especially in the match against Manchester City, the match against Arsenal, home and away. Emi Martinez was outstanding. He's mastered the art of recreating the Colomwani moment again and again and again. And in some moments, Villa were supposed to have conceded some crucial goals, but somehow Emi Martinez kept them in the match. And for me, I believe he has been the best goalkeeper this season in the Premier League. Despite the fact that David Raya won the Golden Glove, I believe Emi Martinez is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season. I know the other goalkeepers have performed well, likes of David Raya, as I've said, Jordan Pickford, and many other goalkeepers. But for me, I feel Emi Martinez, whatever he has done in helping this Villa team get back into the top four, he deserves all the credit. Left back, I'll go with the Fulham left back, Anthony Robinson. As I mentioned earlier, he's been tremendous. His numbers speak for him: interceptions, tackles. When you look at crosses for any left back, he's been absolutely superb. The centre-back partnership, I go with Gabriel and William Saliba, the Arsenal partnership. There's no debate in that. They have been outstanding this season. They have complemented each other very well. Whenever one of them made a mistake, the other one was quick to correct. Their ability to read the match, the ability to maintain their concentration for 90 minutes has been outstanding. And that's one of the main reason as to why Arsenal has been able to perform the way they perform this season, with the best defense in the Premier League and the most clean sheets of any team in the Premier League this season. I think the partnership deserves to be in the Premier League best 11 for the season. At right back, this is a little bit complicated, but I opted to go with Kyle Walker, the Manchester City captain and the Manchester City right back, simply because Kyle Walker is Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker needs no introduction. His pace, his physicality, his presence, his leadership is just Kyle Walker. In midfield, I'll go with a double pivot of Declan Rice and Rodri. Declan Rice, as I've mentioned earlier, for me, he's the signing of the season. Rodri is just Rodri. Manchester City have not lost in more than 70 matches in the Premier League when Rodri played. This means that this guy is absolutely crucial. Yesterday, he summed all this up by scoring the goal that guaranteed Manchester City the Premier League title. He has had a couple of goals this season. He has had a couple of assists. He has had a couple of tackles. He's the player with the most passes. He seems to be the heart of Manchester City. Everything that Manchester City does starts and ends with Rodri. In front of them, I'll go with Phil Foden, the Premier League Player of the Season, the Premier League Young Player of the Season. His numbers speak for him, the assists, the goals. When Kevin De Bruyne was injured, he was the one who came in, stood for Manchester City, filled De Bruyne's shoes very well. He was able to contribute and help the team positively. And even when De Bruyne came back, Foden has not stopped helping the team. And that he proved on Sunday when he scored the 2 goals for Manchester City to go ahead against West Ham in the first half and ultimately winning the Premier League. The front three, this is where the problem is because there have been so many players, especially the right and the left wingers, who have been playing so well this season. And for me, the left-hand side, I'll go with Alexander Isak from Newcastle because I think this year he's been tremendous. Forget about the first half of the season, but the second half of the season, he's been consistent with the goals. He has been consistent with the assists. He has been consistent in helping his team. Newcastle was struggling at some point, but somehow they managed to lift themselves up and achieve European football. And that is mainly due to Alexander Isak's form because he seemed to have picked his form at the right time towards the end of the season. The left-hand side, I'll go with Cole Palmer. Special mention to Bukayo Saka. Honorable mention to Jarrod Bowen. But I believe Cole Palmer has been absolutely world-class. His goals, his passing, and this little boy, this kid is becoming confident and confident. He's adding more into his game. And if he continues in the same trajectory, I won't be shocked in the next 3, 4, 5 years. This boy will be hitting 30 plus goals in a season because he's absolutely world class. And I can't wait to see what England's manager Gareth Southgate will do because there's Bukayo Saka, there's Phil Foden, there's Cole Palmer, whom can play. These 3 players can play in the same position, as well as Jarrod Bowen and many, many more other players. The center forward, I'll go with the top scorer this season and top scorer last season, Manchester City's Erling Haaland. He's missed a lot of chances this season. He's leading the list of players who have missed the biggest chances this season, but still he managed to score 26 goals this season. 26 to him, maybe it's based on what he showed us last season, maybe it's an underachievement, but for me, he's still the best striker in the Premier League. And for the manager of the season, I'll go with Pep Guardiola. Unai Emery has done well. Mikel Arteta has done well. Andoni Raiola has done well. All these managers have done well, but I believe Pep Guardiola bringing Manchester City, leading Manchester City to their